by the time I get to high school, I was pretty comfortable. Yeah.
What about girls? Did you date?
So, I got to be careful because the cardinal might be. I that desire to be a priest was very, very strong in me.
Okay.
That was one of the reasons why I was so determined to learn English. Because I found out I was ready to go to the seminary by the time I get here, but my uncle told me, I was told that I have to. My uncle knew the priest who invited me to the house, and I invited, and they said, you have to finish high school first. Now, that was another motivation for me to really push myself to learn English because I want to go to the seminary. So that was very, it was strong in my heart. So, and then besides that, my uncle and my parents were very, very strict. No dating.
The traditional Asian parent
That's right.
doesn't want to.
No dating. No girl making phone call to the house. I would be in big, big trouble if that was the case, right? So,
did you ever sneak behind their backs?
Mom and Dad, I hope you're not watching. No,
I'll take that as a yes.
I think that in my sophomore year, there was some girls, in the symphony that was very good to me. Like even when people don't understand me, there was a couple girl that was like always very kind to me. Like was very patient with me, and boy, I have a huge crush. I would have a huge crush. I remember, at that age you have puppy loves, right?
Of course,
and
it's only natural. Yeah.
And I could tell you, I have a number of girls that I have crush on, and I thought, golly, I'd love to marry them.
Did anything ever happen? Did you ever, or your parents were just too strict?
My parents are very strict. There was one girl in particular, I remember I really like her a lot. I had crush on a few, but this one girl, she's just really, 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 really sweet. She has this very nice smile, very, very smart girl. And
was she Vietnamese as well, or
no? She's Chinese. She's
Chinese.
And which I love because it allowed me the opportunity to learn English. Right?
Okay.
Now, what do they say? They say the best way to learn a language is to have an opposite sex friend with whom you can practice the language. Doesn't have to be a boyfriend or girlfriend.
Yes.
For some reason, you register the voice really well. That's what they say. So I think that's a blessing, right? So for me to learn English. So, gosh, she's so sweet. She's very patient with me, and a very kind soul. So I just have a huge, huge crush on her. And I remember my junior year, beginning my junior year. After mass and after school in the old days, especially on Friday, you would hang out with a group of people. Like you ask a group of friends to go out together. So if you like some girl, you ask her, but you go in a group.
Okay, yeah. Just so it's not so awkward. Yeah,
awkward, and one is not awkward, but two, you kind of get away if your parents are strict. Oh, I didn't. I go with a group of friends.
Yeah, right. Yes, that's your excuse.
So I remember I was very shy. Very, very, very shy kid, especially when it comes to girl. But I liked her a lot. So I just remember asking her, hey, next week we gotta go to the mall. That's our hangout place. Go to the mall, right? You go to the mall. You go to the food court. You eat. Kind of go window shopping and then go to the movie. So I found all the courage that I have. I remember very clearly. I thought to myself, man, I left Vietnam by boat. I get shot at and I got people screaming at me and I'm not scared. Now asking this girl to go out, I'm so scared. I'm
terrified, you right? And after being through all of that, hiding under an altar with bullets flying around.
It's like I'm scared. But I found my courage. I asked her and she said, certainly, I would love to. And I thought I was in heaven, it's like, yes. And I remember we went, I remember there was like six of us. We went to the mall and we went to eat and then and when we went to see we went to see the movie called The Lion King.
Okay.
It was the first cartoon Lion King, The Lion King. Oh, and of course we went in after our dinner. We went in there and we watched the movie. Of course, I sat right next to her. Right? I mean, it's kind of like a group date.
Yes.
And I remember it's a perfect date movie.
Did you pull that stretch yawn thing to put your arm around her? No, you're too scared.
I was too scared. I was sitting there. I was so happy. Oh, and those Lion King songs, it's perfect, right? Can you feel the love tonight? I was like, of course I feel the love tonight. Can you feel it? Oh, and she was so sweet. In the old days, we still use those tape and there's radio.
Yes.
And if you like some song, you recorded it, right?
You made her a mixtape.
No, she made me the tape.
She made you a mixtape. Wow.
And she edited that song and then she said, hey, thank you. I really enjoyed it, Anyway, so we didn't date in that sense, but we go out like that with group and things like that. So my senior year, I was really struggling because I really like her a lot. I really like her, and of course she wants to become a doctor. And at the time, I was like, I either got to become a priest or a doctor.
Okay,
no other choice. That's it. Either the priest or a doctor.
Was that something your parents said, or you?
Because
yourself?
I like helping people.
Okay,
so I thought that if I could become a priest. When I was in a refugee camp, those doctors came and, give us those examine us and give us.
yeah.
So I was always fascinated by that. I thought, if I wasn't a priest, I would be a doctor and I would probably serve in the Red Cross. I would go to those land and help
medical missions and all of that. Yeah.
Besides that, I think at the time, so she likes to become a doctor. So in my mind, I thought, well, that works out perfect, right? So
you can go to med school together, and
yeah. If I don't go to become a priest, then I go to med school with her. Then when I go to college, my mom and dad would allow me to officially date her.
Yes, no group things anymore.
In med school, we'll get to officially date. And then we probably wait until we graduate from med school. And then we'll go to work. And I figure a doctor makes a lot of money. Then we'll have our own house. We'll probably have 2 kids and a little chihuahua. So that's the plan. So that's what I wanted to do. But at the same time, the call to the priesthood was tugging very strong. I just remember having a hard time. I never thought. All my life, all I wanted to do was to become a priest. Until I met this girl. And until I started having crushes, I said, wait a minute. This is hard.
You thought it was going to be easy, and then finally, when you're close to it,
I'm like, I have to make a decision.
It becomes hard, huh?
And in my senior years, I'm going to have to make a decision. Do I want to go to high school? Or do I want to go to college, med school, and begin to officially date? And so I was having a very hard time.
Oh, you mean seminary or med school?
That's right.
Yeah, okay.
In fact, I invited her to... Now, my parents did not know this. I invited her to the senior prom.
Oh, wow.
So, gosh, I remember... my best friend and I, my friend, I went and ran a tuxedo, right? And I left it at his house. So I would go to his house, change into the tuxedo, and then he would drive me to the prom.
Uh-huh.
And she showed up in this beautiful white dress. And I thought, oh, wow. I mean, it was beautiful. We had a great time at the senior prom. That makes it even harder to make it.
Right. So that whole time you were torn.
I was extremely torn because this deep-seated call is always in me.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I was a teenager who was falling in love, head over toe. I thought she was the most beautiful thing in the world at that prom, and I could marry her that same night. So what are we waiting for? And so I had a really hard time, but the priesthood kept tugging my heart. So I was a teenager falling in love, head over toes, but this call to the priesthood was so strong. So I finally talked to my pastor. And I'll never forget, this is his advice to me. He said, Dad, it seems like God's call has always been consistent all your life. And I know you also kind of falling in love he told me this. Why don't you give God the first choice? You go to the seminary first.
Uh-huh.
And just because you go to seminary doesn't mean you're going to get married. You become a priest right away. It takes you 9 years of formation. And you continue to discern. In the seminary, you have a spiritual director. You live with other men who are discerning. And you have the formation to help you. Why don't you? The word he
just
used
try
was,
it out.
Give God the first try. Try it out first. And he said, if you discern that it's not for you, then you can leave. You can go back to med school. You can date. But you will never regret. You'll never regret because you know you have go and discerned. And you give God his chance.
Because you could always turn back.
Yeah.
You can always change your mind
if you
during the discerning process. Yeah.
If you, with the help of your spiritual director and the faculty there, discern that this is not for you, you can leave. You never regret. And he told me, but what you've learned in the seminary will strengthen you in the faith and will help you to be a better husband and a better father to your children because of your faith. Now that made a lot of sense to me. So with a lot of prayer and great difficulty, I made a decision to choose to apply for the seminary. I just remember applying pretty late in the process because I was struggling, really struggling.
Mm-hmm.
So in a way, it was good that I wouldn't date her officially because
you didn't have a commitment.
I didn't have to deal with that. I didn't have a commitment. So I applied for the seminary. And that's what I did. It was a difficult thing, but I did. And I remember I was accepted. I said, it's all in your hands now. It was a very, very tough vetting process to go through. And I received the letter and I was accepted. So that August, I was going to the seminary.
Wow.
And so I did. I went to the seminary.
Now you were accepted into the seminary. So what happened next with the girl and all of that?
A bit gloomy. So I remember even after I applied, I was still questioning in my head, did I make the right decision? But once again, I keep coming back to, okay, let's go give it a try. Give God the first try was what was very much in my heart. So I remember that day, the day that I was due at the seminary on Sunday evening. So that day, I have a lunch with my family on Sunday. And after the lunch, we have just reunited.
Yes.
Back together for, now it would be 3 years. After all those years of being apart. And here I am. I'm packing and I'm going away. So that was kind of tugging in my heart. So we had lunch, and I got up and I said, Mom and Dad, I love you all. I love you all very much. And I'm going to the seminary. Please pray for me. And even though I can't be around, but no, I love you. I'm discerning. Pray for me. And, we exchanged love and hugs. And then I got in my car. It started raining. It was like a storm. I remember driving. So my heart was sinking, saying goodbye to my family after all those years of being apart. And now I'm driving to be away again. It's sad. I'm still wondering, am I making the right decision? And my drive from here to Dallas, the whole time, it was like I barely saw a car in front of me. That's how bad it was.
Wow.
It took a long time to finally get there. And then I get to the seminary. And I'm so excited. Here I am, something I've always wanted to do all my life. I'm finally, after all these years, after all these journey, still somewhat undecisive, but feel this is where I'm called. I'm finally here. Got to the seminary. And I was going to run into all these wonderful saints, guys who going to be in the seminary and holy. And when I got here, I find very quickly, I said, man, these guys are just like me.
They're just all young guys like you who are...
They have some young guy like me who's trying to figure out, did I make the right decision? Some guys go in there, no, for sure, this is it. And some guys are really nice guys. Some guys are not too nice.
Oh, really?
So it's like, wow, they're all human. Oh.
So you went in thinking that everybody was going to be all holy and pious.
I went thinking that I'm going to enter into a community of saints. And then very quickly, I found out I'm entering a community of humans. But God is good because, like he called Peter, he doesn't call the perfect. He perfect the one he calls. And he loves us in that way. He doesn't call and love us because we're perfect. He meets us in our brokenness, in our sinfulness. And being a disciple is to go along the journey, and he formed our heart. Peter wasn't ready to be crucified upside down when he first followed Jesus. In fact, he denied him.
Yes.
So I found out very quickly that, man, these guys, there's some nice guys, there's some crazy guys and all of that. We're all in there. We're all discerning.